Joining us now to talk more about those unemployment benefits affecting more than 10 million Americans. Financial expert Chase Wilsey joins us now. Chase, thanks for joining us. You got it. Let's talk about these benefits from the CARES Act put in place during the pandemic. They were available for about a year and a half, and now they've expired. What impact are families likely seeing as a result of what just happened?
I mean, it's going to be a difficult situation on some people. That's just the truth of the matter. But the thing that you got to kind of look at, and I'm going to say it sounds a little cold at times, is whether these benefits were going to expire yesterday or they're going to expire in December. They had to end at some point. This was temporary. And I mean, you talk about all these people losing unemployment. There's been times where, gosh, talk about the Great Recession, where there was millions upon millions of people that were unemployed as well. So the numbers sound, I think, a little dramatic, in my opinion, compared to what you've seen in history.
There's been a lot of people saying, well, gosh, we're giving so much money out. There's a lot of people who aren't working because they're making more money, or just about as much money as if they did work. What does this now do to the economy as far as jobs go?
You know, I think it's not going to hurt it, that's for sure. I think you will see improved job growth as we move through the rest of this year and early next year as well. I mean, there's actually a study done by JP Morgan that said about 48% of people were making the same or more on those unemployment benefits. And the nice thing now is you've actually seen about half the country, they've ended those unemployment benefits early. So there's a great example here of a restaurant that's got about 500 different restaurants across the country, and they said about, in those states that actually ended early, about 20% higher in terms of applications. So, I mean, that's kind of what I think you'll start to see. And don't get me wrong, it's not going to happen tomorrow where, oh my gosh, we're going to have our unemployment situation resolved. Yeah. It's going to kind of carry out, and Goldman Sachs had a great study on that. They believe it'll improve the job numbers by about 1.5 million through the end of the year.
Why won't it happen tomorrow? Aren't there a lot of people right now that are having, at this point, no income? You know, maybe they lost a job, they've kind of been relying on the unemployment, and now they have nothing coming in.
Well, I mean, that's a great point. There's 10.1 million job openings right now. I mean, that's a record level. There's all the jobs are out there, but what's actually happened is I think there's just so much money in the economy. You got unemployment benefits for months on end now. You had the rental kind of assistance that did occur. You've had an increase in the food stamps coming up here as well. You had the child tax credit. There's so much money that's kind of coming into the economy where people should have built up a nice nest egg that I think can get them through the next few months, which is a positive and a negative.
What do people do if they haven't done that? They've just paid their bills, they've just tried to get by, they didn't have any other income, this is what they have, they got nothing now. What do people in those situations do?
I mean, that's a very difficult situation to be in, to be completely honest. And if you don't have any assets to rely upon, you're going to kind of have to look at the last alternative. I mean, you're going to have to make sure you're applying for the food stamps. You're going to have to make sure that you have probably assistance from friends and family. You're going to look for help, because at the end of the day, everything has ended now. And you will see if anything changes here with Governor Gavin Newsom, if he does come out and say, okay, we're going to extend it to this regard, and we're going to extend those unemployment benefits, enhance them even further. I would be surprised to see that in the next couple of weeks, but it is an option. It's an option President Biden has talked about as well.
It'd have to happen, okay, I would say on a state level, but you said maybe the president, but it doesn't sound like it's going to happen, you know, immediately, I guess, in that regards. As far as jobs go, there's more than 10 million openings and 5.5 million people who need a job. There's definitely a quantity there. Is it an issue of quality? People are saying, hey, this is an opportunity to try something new, and I want a better quality, better paying job.
Well, I definitely think there can be a mismatch. I mean, you talk about cybersecurity and the threats that we've seen this year. I mean, that is such a high demand field, but there's not as many people, I think, that are in that field that are requiring those types of skills. So I think it does create an opportunity for people in unsatisfactory kind of workplaces that they say, I want to do something different. It really creates some opportunities, but right now we do need help in different areas of the economy. I mean, food service industry was just annihilated. It was crushed during the pandemic. Those people need help. And yes, I mean, you can go get a job there and then study and actually improve your skills to get into cybersecurity if that's something you're interested in.
It seems like a lot of people out there want to try, you know, I've been a waiter for a long time. Well, this is an opportunity to try something new. It's incredible, you know, just to see the effects of something like this happening. Do we have any precedents for this where, you know, there have been benefits, you know, as a community to help people in a major situation like this, and now they're gone, and there's this, you know, opportunity, I guess, for a lot of jobs to be filled?
Yeah, I mean, there definitely is an opportunity for a lot of jobs to be filled. I do kind of worry what the new precedent is going to be when we have unemployment rise the way we have seen? Is it going to be, okay, we're going to have to go back to the enhanced unemployment benefits? I mean, it did cost our economy, I mean, trillions of dollars to really get through this. I do worry about future precedents and how we do battle back against different circumstances. And what is that kind of threshold? The pandemic was such a unique situation. I mean, you closed down the economy. We needed to do something to get through that short-term time period. What is going to be the precedent to combat different recessions in the future?
And really feel like there's a playbook for what we've dealt with the last year and a half.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, Chase, thank you very much. Chase Wilsey with the insight here for us this afternoon. Thanks.
Thanks for having me.